Hello and welcome back to the FSF Popcast. I am Tim, I am your host, and this is the show that is made by nerds for nerds. So, welcome to the Nerdatorium. Our guest today is an upcoming actor that you've seen in shows like The Pickle, Succession, and The Punisher. Now, most recently, you've seen him on the show The Better Sister as Troy Younger. Now, The Better Sister is available on Amazon Prime now, and we'll talk a little bit about that show here coming up. But I'm very excited to welcome Ian Poake to the show. Welcome to the show, Ian.
Hey, Tim. How are you?
Dandy. Thank you so much for cutting out some time for us. Excited to have a chance to sit down and talk with you.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got a cool resume. You've been on some cool shows, and I can only imagine from some of the things I've seen from you that this is a good trend, and it's going to keep going upwards for you. So I'm excited to get you on the show.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yes, I've been very lucky. I've gotten to work on some really cool stuff.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. All right, but before we talk about any of that, because I'm a nerd, and this is a nerd-based show, we like to talk about origin stories because nerds love a good origin story.
Absolutely.
So in the origin story of our hero of today, Ian Poake, what got you started? What made you think, you know what? I need to be an entertainer.
All right. So, like a lot of us, I think the class clown label absolutely fit me when I was a young one in school. And that was sort of the first taste of audience laughter and getting a rise out of people that I got. And then I was very lucky to have an outlet in school, very, very pretty young. In 8th grade, I was able to be part of the musical the 8th grade musical. I auditioned for it. It was The Wizard of Oz. And I won the role of the Cowardly Lion, and that was pretty much it. Like I'll remember that audition for the rest of my life, just getting up there. And my choir teacher, Mrs. Puck, I loved her. She was wonderful. We had a nice rapport as the class clown. I constantly got in trouble, but she kind of liked the jokes. And then there was finally this arena in which it was like encouraged to do this, and I remember her cracking up, and all of these adults that it was like, yeah, okay, like keep it down in the back there. Now it was time to shine. So I was like, all right, this is good. This is where I should be doing this stuff. So from then on, it just became like, all right, like what opportunities can I find? And I was super fortunate to go to a school where I had a lot of opportunities. My high school had they had a great theater program that we did 2 straight plays every year and 1 big musical that everybody was involved with. So I got to do a lot of theater coming up through high school. Naturally was like, oh, I'm going to go and study at college. And I did that. And then I graduated college, and then I kept pursuing it. And here we are today. So yeah, I guess I can credit Mrs. Puck and her laughing at my audition for The Wizard of Oz in 8th grade to sort of being the thing that unlocked it.
I love that. I think that's a great story.
Yeah.
It's impressive to me whenever we talk about, when I talk to people about this, and when it comes back to something in school, there's always that one teacher. There's always that one advisor, counselor, somebody who saw potential even through the class clown and said, hey, this is something, there's something here. And how much that has had an impact on so many different people's lives. And it's one of those things, man, where I hear that and then I hear them wanting to shut down some of these arts programs. And it's like, it's like things like this, maybe experiences like yours is something that would not be had if school didn't have that musical program and didn't have the arts program and things like that. So I think that's a kind of one of those cool stories where I go, oh, well, Mrs. Puck, not only is it a cool, fun name to say at certain occasions, but yeah, no, that's cool, man. I like that story. Okay, yeah. So out of school, out of high school, out of college, what was the first real job though, where you said, I think I could stick this. I can stick the landing. I can do this.
Well, right out of school, I did a couple like small theater productions that I, auditioned for. They were very low paying, but they were professional. So I was doing the grind. I was working at a restaurant on the Upper East Side, and I was rehearsing at night, and then I was taking off time to do these shows, and it was great. And then I remember I booked this big, at the time for me, big theater tour. Now, this was not a fancy theater tour. This was a non-union theatrical, like educational theatrical tour. I won't say the name of it, but the experience was definitely one in a lifetime. And I remember it was an actor tech contract, so we had to drive the van and the truck that carried the set. We put up the set, we put up the lights, we put up the sound, we did the whole thing. We were like a traveling troupe of troubadours. It was really awesome, honestly. Like, I remember at the time feeling extremely like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, this is crazy, but I have to. And then getting through that was like, all right, cool. Now I got to come back to New York and figure this out, right? So getting back to New York, I remember like immediately I kind of started working with some of these wonderful indie theater artists that I was connected with through a play that I had done a couple of years before. And we started producing some stuff, and that became my community. And that sort of like that's really honestly where everything came from, was that community. I met people that were able to get me in contact with representatives that were interested in working with me. And so that led to, we had produced a play that we were doing at a theater off Broadway. And we were just about to start previews when I found out that I booked 2 episodes on The Punisher, right? Which is like, I'm thrilled. This is so
cool.
Yeah. Because I'm on the podcast. Let's talk about nerd stuff, right? So I'm a big Marvel fan. I was loving all of the stuff they were putting out, like, and I still do for the most part. Thunderbolts was great, but it was so cool to be on this. Like, The Punisher was dope, right? It's this like gritty. John Bernthal's incredible. So it was season 2, and I got to work with Josh Stewart, who is awesome. Like, he was in The Collector, which is like one of my favorite sort of niche horror movies, which I love that movie. So I didn't get to like geek out about that with him because that would have felt unprofessional. And this was like the first big job I was doing. So, cool. But like, we got to chatting because we shot for a couple of days, and yeah, like kind of just like having conversations with this guy who was the lead in this like horror movie that I'd seen when I was in college, right? Like, and I love this movie. I was like, this is a cool, fun horror flick that like not a lot of people maybe have seen, or like it's kind of, and I was like, wow, and he's done tons. He was in The Dark Knight, and he's been in tons of stuff, right? And like passing the ball back and forth with him and hanging out on set and chatting with him, I was like, okay, I can do it. Like, I can hold my own here. I can do this. And then, that was like, all right, I'm in. Like, I love it too. That's the other thing. I love being on set. I love being in front of the camera. I love being like just working with everybody, seeing all the moving parts, seeing the camera moves, the camera ops. Like, when you get to see a Steadicam in action, that it's so cool. So yeah, I guess The Punisher was probably the first sort of like big time job that I did where I felt like, yep, this is right, and I think I can actually do this.
All right. I think hell, if you're gonna get to start off with one, why not The Punisher?
It was pretty neat. Yeah, I was very, very lucky to get to do
that. Yeah. I think that also, not only would it be surreal because A, you're a big Marvel fan, B, it's The Punisher, and that's a pretty big, IP. And then on top of it, you're working with somebody that you've seen and you liked and you had an admiration for. So I think all the way around, I can see why that would be a very both exciting and yet grounding thing at the same time, I would imagine.
Absolutely. I mean, when you bring that up, like now thinking about it, I have been extremely, extremely lucky. That's not the only thing that I've gotten to work on where I was working with someone that I really admired and was like, wow, this is amazing. I've been very fortunate. I mean, getting to work on Succession, like I loved that show. I watched all of the first season of that show and was obsessed with it. And when I found out, like when I got that audition, I was like, oh, what? I get to audition for this? This is so cool. And then I booked it and it was like, oh my gosh. And so getting to work with Jeremy Strong was incredible because I'm
Right, right.
like, I love this character. I love this story. So that was awesome. Getting to work with Seth Rogen on An American Pickle. That is, I've said it before and I'll say it again. That was one of the coolest experiences I've ever gotten to do. Getting to work with Seth super up close for that whole shoot was absolute, not only like the best learning experience that I could have ever asked for, but also just like another sort of feeling of like validity, like, oh, all right, yeah, like I'm doing all of this stuff, like this is cool, like let's get this going, like so yeah, it's been a wild ride.
That's cool, man. I like it. All right, so that's led you up to the point now where you're currently on The Better Sister, which is number 2 currently in the US on Amazon. So kudos, congratulations, man.
Thank you. I mean, that is a very much a team effort, and I would say I have a very small level of the load to bear for that. But I appreciate it, and I'm really excited for the show's success.
No, you should be that. You should be. I mean, hey, life is hard enough as it is in so many different ways. Let's celebrate the wins. And so getting up to number 2 in the US on Amazon Prime, that's a pretty big deal, my dude.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah. So if you would please take a moment to tell the audience about the show. Maybe they're not familiar with The Better Sister. Maybe they haven't watched it. Maybe they don't understand what the premise of the show is. But if you could tell us about the show, your character, and then we'll talk about what the show means to you afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. So The Better Sister is based on a wonderful novel by the writer Alistair Burke. And it follows the story of 2 sisters. One of them is the better sister, obviously. And those are the incredible performances by Jessica Biel and Elizabeth Banks. And so the story basically starts off with this incredible moment where you find out that Jessica Biel's character's husband has been murdered, and there's going to be subsequently a big investigation. What we then find out is there is sort of an estranged, interesting relationship between Jessica Biel and her sister, Elizabeth Banks, who has to come back into her life after the murder of her husband.
Okay.
There's a lot more intrigue that comes out. There are some secrets that we find out about the family dynamic between the 2 sisters, their past involving their father, and then also, subsequently, there is an investigation happening on the murder victim, Chloe, Jessica Biel's character's husband. He is a high-powered lawyer who's working for a firm who may or may not be involved in some shady dealings that the FBI is investigating. That's where my character, Troy Younger, comes in. I'm one half of a partnership, myself and Agent Olivero, played by the incredible Frank Pando. We are investigating Adam, Corey Stoll's character. We were investigating him and his dealings with the Gentry Group, the company, one of the companies that his firm works for. And so there's a murder investigation going on that's being investigated by local police. There's an FBI investigation going on. There's a sort of familial reckoning going on between the 2 sisters, and there's a whole lot of drama going on with with Chloe's son. And so, yeah, it follows that investigation as these secrets come to light, and these the investigations race to a very exciting conclusion. I think that's probably the way to sum up the show.
I think that's probably pretty fair. That leaves enough on the bone for people to figure it out and kind of go and watch for themselves and see what's going on.
It's a really good mystery too. It's really fun. You really you kind of go on this great ride with everyone, and such kudos to everyone involved. But the performances of some of these people, I mean, oh my goodness, Jessica is stellar in this show. And Elizabeth, I didn't get to work with her on set, but getting to watch the show now, I mean, I wish I did. She's so great. And I've gotten to work with Corey Stoll a couple of times, which has been really exciting. So getting to work with him again and see, he's always, anytime he pops up in anything, I'm thrilled. So getting to work with him, getting to see this has been great. But yeah, again, I mentioned Frank Pando before. I just got to big ups to Frank. He is so great in this role. He is sort of the menacing half of our partnership, and he is the one who kind of like gets really deeply involved with trying to pry some information out of Jessica Biel's character, and he does such a great job, which is so funny. He's so intimidating in the show, but in real life, he's just such a sweet, nice guy. Like it was awesome to see him turn it on like that, and really cool to get to see the stuff that he did that I wasn't there for, some of the scenes with him and Jessica, and like, oh, it's really exciting. If you guys have not watched the show, which sounds like a lot of people have, if it's number
Oh, yeah.
2 right now, but if you haven't, it's definitely worth watching.
It's interesting that you mentioned about, getting the chance to watch him turn it on, turn it off. I think it's interesting. For me, let's see, we're 240 some odd interviews into this. Wow. And I think that when I talk with people, and some of the guys who play the biggest jerks, the biggest villains, are some of the biggest sweethearts you're ever going to meet in your life. They have this ability to be whatever is required for the opposite of who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And it is interesting. Like, you talk to some of these guys and you're like, I don't know why I expected them to be similar, to what they are on screen, but yeah, you're not. And that's kind of cool. And
yeah. I mean, right. It is interesting because like, there's part of it too, where it's like, that's not who they are, but how they read on camera, or if they just drop their voice a little bit, or like whatever they're doing, like to be able to morph into that intimidation factor
gets you.
Yeah.
They're able to get you to bite into that and buy into it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So let me ask you this about it, because whenever I have people on who are, whether they're in a big IP or they're in a show that has increasing popularity, like the Better Sister is a show that's growing in its popularity, and for good reason. It's a well-written show. It's very well cast, and it's a show of intrigue. But I always want to know what it means to you as both personally and professionally to be on a show of that nature, of that stature, and how has it affected your view on what you do?
That's a great question. Let's see. I mean, being on a show like that the actual experience of shooting it is one thing, right? Lots of times when you're on, because I've been extremely lucky to work on some very large projects, some big IP stuff, and those things always have a ton of moving parts, right? So a lot of the time, it's not personal, but it's like you show up and you do your job. Like that's what you're there for. That you're there to do a job, right? So it's not like, oh, hey, welcome to set. How are you? Can we get you? Like, it can be like that, and sometimes it's like, well, you don't want it to be because we're all here to work, right? But my point being, sometimes things just kind of like get lost in the shuffle, and it's like, okay, here we are to punch the clock and let's make this show. The Better Sister was such an opposite experience of that. It was this wonderful collaborative feeling. Like Regina and Olivia were on set every time I was there, and presumably for the entire shoot. And they were always like, if you guys have any questions, what do you think? Do you think maybe this goes in a better direction? Like, and not to downplay anything, but my role was not one of the major roles in the show. You wouldn't have known that from the way that Olivia and Regina and everyone involved were able to chat with everybody while you were there. Like, nice. There was time and effort and intention put into everything that was going on, which was just like, as an actor and as a collaborator, it just, you just like, you want to do better work, right? So that experience on the set was incredible. Something that was so fascinating to me was that when I was reading the scripts for the episodes that I shot a part of, and I got about like, I shot parts of 4 different episodes. So I got to get a preview of the second half of the series, right? So I kind of knew what was coming on, but I hadn't really seen anything from the first half. Mm-hmm. So I was very lucky to be invited to the premiere at the MoMA. So I went to go see that, and I saw the first 2 episodes there at the premiere. And it was really cool, not just to watch the show, because like I've seen things that are really cool that I've been a part of, and it's always exciting. But the thing that blew me away about this particular show was that the tone, what I was picturing, it's so much more than that. The humor, the humanity,
Right.
and that's a lot of Elizabeth Banks, because she brings this like vivaciousness and sort of like dry humor to like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
she's just incredible, right? So that element of it and the interplay between Jessica and Elizabeth, like, and that sort of funny sister, like sister crackling, like we're gonna make fun of each other and we know how to push each other's buttons. Like, I didn't know that was gonna be such a big factor in the show. And getting to watch that in the first 2 episodes was so thrilling, because I was just like, oh, this is so much more. I mean, I thought this was going to be a really cool, awesome, thrilling sort of, sexy thriller drama, which it is, but it's also more than that. And so that was really, really cool. So to
Nice.
me, it's really exciting to just get to be a part of anything that, one, you get to have this wonderful collaborative experience, and then two, your expectations, like, it exceeds them. That's always really, really exciting.
Nice. All right. Now, in doing my research on you, I came across a few reviews of work that you have done. I'd viewed a few demo reels and things that you had put out there of
Okay.
different projects you had been part of, and things along those lines. And one of the things I enjoyed most about from what I've seen about you is your ability to make a character believable. And in particular, when an accent is required. So what do you do to prepare yourself for these immersive style roles where it's more than just, hi, I'm Bob, welcome to the mini mart,
Sure. Well, I was really lucky to study, to have a class in school, taught by this incredible teacher named Gloria Biegler. She's a vocal coach and wonderful actor who's working in New York all the time. She taught a semester of dialect work at my undergrad, and I've always had a great ear for accents ever since I was a little kid. I credit my mother with this, actually. So my mom used to read me the Redwall series, the Brian Jacques books.
Okay.
That are, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but if you're not, they are these great like children's stories about they're kind of like Arthurian legend, but all with little animals. So there's like mice and badgers and hares and weasels and foxes and wolves and all, and they all are their own factions, and it's a great little world. But my mom used to read them to me, and every single creature would have a different accent, like I remember the hares were Cockney, and the badgers were Scottish, and the mice were just like sort of like East London, like just sort of and
I want to hear your mother read this.
I mean, it was really, she was incredible. Like, I mean, at reading that, she's still with us. Hi, Mom. But she was incredible at reading these things to me when I was a kid. And I think that kind of gave me this feeling of like, oh, well, stories, everybody should have a different voice. And I was an only child growing up. And so a lot of my time was spent kind of reading things out loud and practicing voices and doing silly faces in the mirror. So I always had an affinity for it and a knack for it. And then when I combined that with this wonderful class from Gloria, where she sort of gave me just a framework for like, okay, like, what's a dialect that you were interested in learning that you, because I can listen to something, if I listen to someone talking from like Game of Thrones, I can sort of fall into something like Northern England, right? Something like that. Sort of like, that's just a vague parroting, right? Of something specific. So I never knew how to sort of go, okay, well, I need to play someone from this specific region of whatever country. And so Gloria was able to sort of give me this framework. And I'll remember like my project for that was my buddy and I, we wanted to learn the South African dialect, which like, I'm sort of a big guy. I could play a rugby player, but like, I don't know when I'm ever going to actually use that. And then of course, like this comes out and Matt Damon is doing, a rugby thing. But I remember learning that and being like, Oh, wow. Like that was fun. But like the process for me is mostly sort of finding really good examples. That was one of the things that like Gloria would talk about was like, find a genuine article, go somewhere, find someone who is from the place, like, and talk to them, they can tell you, or find it online or find whatever, like,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And for me, that is a lot of the time enough. You can write like phonetically, you can write stuff out, and a lot of that helps a lot of people. And when you have a script that you're working with, that can really help if you have trouble spots, right? If you have
Sure.
like a line where you hear it with Australian actors a lot, like doing American, that they, the O's sort of come out like that
Mm-hmm.
accidentally. They're like, oh, we need to go, we need to take the president home. And you're like, whoa, where did that come from? So like, if you were phonetically writing that out, just mark something so that when you're practicing the lines, okay, I'm going to hit that. So that was one of the
Sure.
things that I learned. That's the process. But a lot of the time for me, it's just kind of like listening to examples, like and kind of finding the sounds. Yeah, I don't know. I love it though. Anybody that works with me at my day job will tell you that I am constantly talking in a different voice. It's maybe I sound sort of like a crazy person, but it's fun. I know, right?
Well, hey, you got to do something to keep yourself sane, so you might as well have some fun with it.
That is right. That is right.
All right.
You get me.
I try. Nerd solidarity, brother. All right. So, now, although it's not every job is easy, you do make your work look polished, but I'm sure that not every job that you've stepped on, not every project that you've been a part of has been an easy one. Now, they can be difficult for a lot of different reasons. Now, maybe it's you had trouble with the script, maybe you had trouble with the motivation of getting into character or whatever it was. What was the project to date that has been the most difficult for you to bring your character to life?
Most difficult. Let's see. Okay, the thing that jumps to mind immediately is not necessarily the most difficult because I had a really great example in front of me,
Okay.
literally. But because I had a really great example literally right in front of me, it was extremely intimidating. So I did a short film called Jolie, written by Adam Reed and directed by Haley Geffen. It was such an honor to get to do it. It was such a cool story that was this not just beautiful for what it meant to the neighborhood and to the place, but also like I live in Brooklyn and it's this like wonderful piece of Brooklyn. So the story is about the last day of service of a restaurant called Jolie in Brooklyn. It's this Benjamin Tritou is the owner. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Tritou. I'm not sure if that's exactly how you pronounce the last name. I should know. This is the man that I played, but the character was named Ben in the movie. Anyway, so Haley had directed me in a commercial several years prior, which was really fun. It was an improvisational shoot. It was super, super, super fun. And then, we sort of kept in touch. And then I made this silly video on my Instagram that during the pandemic that was me playing 8 different people from all over the world who all lived together during quarantine, right? And they were driving each other crazy. And I just was, I was bored. That's what I do when I'm bored, as we've learned, as I do different voices. So I filmed it and put it on the internet. And it was fun and people liked it. And it was awesome. And then like a couple years out of quarantine, or not even, I guess it was like, 2020, the end of 2022, maybe 2023. I just got a message from Haley online and she says, "Can you do a French accent?" And I was like, sure. Sure. I can figure it out. Okay. And she says, "Okay, great. I have this thing I would love for you to be a part of." And I was like, okay. And we chatted about it. And I got to play Ben, who is the restaurateur that owned Jolie. And we got to film in the actual restaurant. And it was like, we did a dramatization at like a full-on sort of recreation of the last day of service of this restaurant, and Ben closing it down with like one of his dearest friends, and like the moment of writing the letter that they were going to post on the door the next morning, letting the people in the neighborhood know that unfortunately, like, we having to shutter. And it was like, that was the hardest thing on so many levels. One, I knew how important this story was and to get it right. Two, Adam and Haley and Ben and me, and we all, there was a script and there was a skeleton, and we knew the story we wanted to tell, but there was a lot of room to play within it. So I had to, while this man that I am playing, this real man, is there on set watching the takes, watching the playback, like, I'm having to be him, act as him. What would he
Sure.
do? You know, and like, it's nice to have that resource, because anytime I could be like, Ben, would you, like, how would you grab this plate? How would you do this? How would you do that? And he's like this, you know, this like absolutely wonderful, eccentric man. Like, you know, he doesn't have the time for it. And he's always so busy. Everything. Okay, I don't know. Like, so it'd be like, Ben, how would you grab this? You'd be like, what do you mean? You grab the thing, like, it's, I don't know. What do you mean? How would you do it? And like, so it'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I don't mean to, I'm just trying to get it right. Like, that's all. And he's like, no, you're doing great. And then you're like, am I though? Like, I'm so scared. You're cool and scary. So that was probably the most challenging thing, because it was sort of improvisational, and it was a really important story, and it was emotional too. That was the other thing. Like, you know, we were shooting in the actual place, and like,
Sure, yeah.
And it was, and you know, Ben's there, and the after party was at his friend's restaurant, like down the street. It was really, that was so emotional. Like, I'd met this man once before when we were discussing like doing this project, and I did like a Zoom with him, and then the next thing I know, we're on set for 2 days and shooting this short, and like, by the end of it, we're crying and hugging. It was awesome. It was terrifying, but it was
I can see why that would be difficult. It does, yeah, it's not a bad project. But I think having the person there, not that he's looking over your shoulder, but I think at some point you would have to feel like he's looking over my shoulder, and I want to do this guy honor, and I don't want to have him feel like I'm doing a caricature of him.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I can see how that would be a little bit nerve-wracking. I can see how that might be a little bit a little tense at times. Yeah, because especially if he's that nice of a guy and he's doing all these things, then yeah, and it's that big of a story. Yeah, you want to have depth of feel, not make it feel like it's imitation. I gotcha.
Exactly.
All right. Well, very cool. Well, you brought up something else during that, and it was if you would have stopped right then, it'd been the perfect lead, but I'm gonna circle back to you. You talked about putting something on your Instagram. So there we go. There's my segue. All right. So you put some stuff on your Instagram, and we've been known to digitally research our guests and talk with them about stuff that they put out on social media. Just because it helps us get a sense of, you know, who and what you are, and what you do, and what, you know, maybe some of the things that you like and that you're into. And so I'm going to put a picture up on the screen of something that you shared to your Instagram account, because now I have my co-host is Kathleen. She wasn't able to be here tonight. But we both like this picture, and yeah. So you shared a picture of one of your cats, and this one is a tuxedo. Kathleen also has a tuxedo cat.
Oh, that's so lovely.
So we saw your kitty, and this is her kitty. This is Ernie.
Oh my gosh, look at the little nose. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Yeah, that's Ernie, or as her daughter named him when she was little and couldn't say Ernie, he is now called Nern.
Nern is a great name for a cat, though. So I love it.
Yeah, so that's Ernie. So Kathleen had to ask, because that cat right there on the screen, Nern, is the biggest baby I have ever met as a cat.
Yeah.
Like, we'll be doing podcasts, and you can hear the cat outside the door just
yowling.
Oh, just wanting to be wherever she is.
Oh, yeah.
And he doesn't have to be on her lap. He just has to be around wherever she is.
Exactly.
So Kathleen wants to know, based on her experience with tuxedos, is your tuxedo also a giant, massive baby?
Oh my gosh. Yes. You walk anywhere near the kitchen, and it is immediately gonna start yelling. Just meow, meow, meow. Walk up to the cabinet, get the paw behind the corner of the door, pull it so that it slams,
Mm-hmm.
jump up on the counter. Oh, gonna read something? Nope. It's time for treats. Time for treats. Very food motivated. Total baby. Oh my gosh. Can I have the door open? Oh, we take him out. That's Dexter, by the way.
Okay.
He has a
Like
sister.
that name.
Yes, Dexter, like the serial killer, and his sister Lizzie, like Lizzie Borden.
Very nicely done.
Very normal. And Dexter goes on walks on a leash, so he's very he's very he loves to yell at us to get the back door open and to go for a walk. Like that is his MO. So
Okay.
yeah, big baby indeed.
So if you're out of a room that he wants to get into, do you get the paw under the door and the meowing? And
back in the day, yes. He's 16 now, so he saves his energy to try and get treats, like he's like, you need to use
that's
the
fair.
bathroom. I've seen that. That's fine.
I've seen that.
I don't need that anymore. The treats though, if you could come over and get that would be great. Or like outside. One or the other, like, hey, so yeah.
I love it. I've seen that. Nothing new here. Where's the treats?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Once you come back to the kitchen, we'll talk. Like,
That's fantastic. He's no longer with us, but I had a all black cat with a white box on his chest named Vader.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And so when Vader wanted to get into a room, he would lay on his side and drag his claws on the underside of the door and meow. So you would hear the scream, like 2:00 in the morning. He wants to get in the bedroom.
Oh my God.
Just
yep.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. He was so annoying.
Vader.
I miss him terribly, but he was we called him Vader because he was black, all with the white box on his chest, and he was a bit of a jerk. So it was all very, very.
But hey, but redeemable, like totally
he was a redeemable jerk. Yes, he had his moments.
Yeah.
So
he would have thrown Palpatine over the edge, like no.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, for sure, for sure. But yeah, so unfortunately,
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It is. I mean, it's been a few months now, so as I don't get as sad talking about it. But we have another kitty, and his name is Seven. He's
like 7 of 9, like
kind of like 7 of 9. We were going through all these different names trying to figure out what to name him because he showed up as part of the cat distribution system. We live out in the middle of the woods, a very rural area, and the Manistee National Forest here in Michigan.
Yeah,
and we just had a kitten show up at our back door, and he's this. Now Kathleen calls him a cloud. I don't know if that's actually what the species, but he just looks. He's a puffball. Yeah, and his name is Seven, and we ended up calling him that originally because he's polydactyl. He has 7 toes.
Oh yeah.
So he's got these massive paws, and it looks like he's running with mittens on when he's going. Because like if he just figures out how to do this, we're all screwed.
He's in trouble.
Yeah, we're all screwed. He's both the most loving and murderous cat I've ever had in my life.
Yeah,
because we live out in the country, he's an indoor-outdoor cat.
Okay, yeah,
and because that's where he came from, he likes going outdoors. He's very at peace outdoors.
Sure.
And most of the time, he's just laying on our deck, unless he sees a bird, and then oh yeah, birds, chipmunks, baby squirrels, bats.
Oh
yeah. Anything that flies or creepy crawls, he has brought to my back door every morning. Just about every morning, there's a present at the back door for us.
Hey, he loves you. That's just he's just giving you gifts. That's really nice.
We haven't decided whether he loves us or he just thinks we're really bad hunters. So
hey, you guys need some help here. Oh my God, these guys, they never have anything.
Fine, I'll provide again. So yeah,
that's adorable. I love that.
All right, Ian, we have reached the time in the show where I need to ask you a silly question.
All right, let's do this.
All right, so we asked this because the aforementioned Kathleen was out with her daughter, who named Ernie Nern. And somebody asked her daughter this question, but not Kathleen. And she was like, well, I don't think you should ever age out of this question. So that question is, Ian Poake, what's your favorite dinosaur?
What's my favorite dinosaur? Oh my gosh. I want to stall so bad right now and tell you this fun story, but I won't. Favorite dinosaur? I guess it's. I mean, like, can I quantify, or do I have
Absolutely.
to one? All right. So, like, coolest, most badass, like, ooh, scary. Got to be Velociraptor. So
Okay.
cool, like, I mean, you know, like, who's not ever like? I was just talking about this the other day. Jurassic Park is like one of my top 5 movies ever. Like,
Yeah.
I think top 3 action film of all time, no question. Like, well, maybe not no question. There's a lot of action movies, but like I would say, anyway. So Velociraptors, so cool.
Sure.
But my favorite, I always liked. I think they're called Pachycephalosaurus, the one with the big, thick skull that would charge and like
Okay.
stuff. You know, they get going real quick and like,
Yeah.
They just had these big old dome heads and big thick skulls and would run into stuff. I don't know. I just always thought that was fun. And I liked those. Because, like, yeah, it's like, okay, Velociraptor, T-Rex, Stegosaurus, like, those are all cool. But that big helmet head thing, that's cool. Pachycephalosaurus, final answer.
I'm going to have to look that one up because I'm not remembering what that one looks like.
I may have completely made that up too. It's certainly possible. It's been been a long time since someone's. Kathleen is absolutely right. That question should not be limited to children.
Right. No, everybody. I mean, you get to keep a favorite dinosaur.
Yeah.
Let's see.
There's so many.
There's
so many good ones. Like,
oh, I think this is the. Is this? I'm gonna show you a picture and tell me if this is the dude you're thinking of. Is it that guy?
It's not that guy. It's that guy's cool though.
Yeah, that's the Basilophorus. Basilosaurus. I need a thesaurus so I can know how to pronounce this.
All right, I found it. I found the one I'm looking for. So he's got a haircut kind of like one of the Three Stooges. But yeah,
that dude. Oh yeah, okay.
And they run real fast and they slam their heads into stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I just need to see a picture of him because I wasn't computing who he was. Yeah.
That guy. That's the one I'm going. Final answer.
Final answer. Egghead dinosaur. Okay, got it. No, that's a great answer. And I can honestly say without question, that is the first time that one has been given.
Yes.
You are an original, sir.
That's what I was like. I can't say any of the ones that I gotta go weird, you know?
I love it.
Stay weird.
That's right. Good choice. All right, Ian. Well, hey, thank you so much for being on the FSF Popcast today. Where can our listeners and our viewers go to find out more about you, your work, what you've got coming up?
You can check out The Better Sister on Prime, as we mentioned. I'm on Instagram at It's Ian Poake. That's just ITS and then my name. And my website is ianpoake.com. Check it out. You can hopefully find me on Spotify soon. I'm working on a live play podcast for a Call of Cthulhu game that I've been writing. So we'll see what happens with that. I gotta test play it with some friends first and see how it rolls, and then if I can get that into somewhere with some recording space, I would love to make that something to put out into the world. So
how it rolls,
we'll see.
I see what you did there. Let's see how it rolls.
Yeah.
All right. Well, very cool. We'll make sure that we put some notes down in the show notes down below so people can find those easier and come check you out. All right. And guys, hey, if you haven't by now is a perfect time to remind you that our show here on YouTube is absolutely free for you to follow. So if you haven't done it, please go ahead and click that like and subscribe button, because that helps make sure that we get more amazing guests like Ian Poake here today to have these great conversations and give you guys something cool to listen to. So please consider following our show. It helps out more than I can ever really tell you, and I appreciate it more than I can ever really tell you. Plus, it helps my parents be less disappointed in me. So make sure you check out Ian's work as well. He's got a lot of cool stuff that he's been in, and I'm sure that there are some things coming up, and we're going to want to keep an eye on him for that Call of Cthulhu game. That sounds very, very cool. So, Ian, thank you again for being on the FSF Podcast. Guys, thank you for listening, and may the force be with you as you continue to live long and prosper. Goodbye.
Copyright 2025 FSF Podcast. Reference to any specific product or entity mentioned on this podcast does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by FSF Podcast. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. If you have any questions about this disclaimer, please contact us via email at info@fsfpodcast.com.